starting linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs. Jersey number 59, official member of the Male Athletes Against Violence organization during the 4 years he played college football at the University of Maine. And that same man with a 9mm pistol pointed against his own temple inside the parking lot of Arrowhead Stadium in front of head coach Romeo Crennel and general manager Scott Pioli. Today, you're going to know why Jovan Belcher, a 25-year-old African-American man, a college activist against violence toward women, fired 9 shots at his girlfriend Kasandra Perkins inside the room next to his 3-month-old daughter Zoey. Even darker, you're going to know what Jovan Belcher told Scott Pioli exactly before pulling the trigger. Worse still, you're going to know why the NFL made the decision not to cancel the Chiefs game against the Carolina Panthers the following day, and why Bob Costas read that same Sunday night in front of 25 million viewers, the most famous anti-gun editorial in NBC history. And most important of all, you're going to know what the doctors found inside the exhumed brain of Jovan Belcher almost a year after the burial, and why that finding changed the NFL forever. But first, you have to know how Jovan Belcher got there. West Babylon, Long Island, a working-class town of fewer than 20,000 residents on the southeast shore of New York, surrounded by forests, highways, and modest one-story homes with small yards and one-car garages. The neighborhood where Jovan Belcher was born on July 24, 1987, the parents, Kevin Belcher and Cheryl Shepherd, were working-class laborers. Kevin worked industrial jobs in Suffolk County. Cheryl was a single mother during much of Jovan's childhood. After the relationship with Kevin broke, Cheryl raised 4 children almost alone. Jovan was the youngest. The Belcher family home stood inside zip code 11704, and a backyard where Jovan spent hours playing football with the neighbors starting at 9 years old. Football, the sport that would silently kill the brain of Jovan Belcher through hundreds of accumulated hits during the 19 years he played competitive football. Lock in that fact. We'll come back. Jovan Belcher entered West Babylon High School in September of 2002. He became, during the 4 years he played football on the varsity team, one of the best defensive players in Suffolk County. Defensive lineman first, then linebacker. A kid nearly 6 feet tall with an unusual speed for his size. And in September of 2005, at 18 years old, Jovan Belcher entered his first year at the University of Maine with a full football scholarship signed by head coach Jack Cosgrove of the Black Bears program of the NCAA Division I AA. A rural campus in Orono, more than 200 miles north of Boston. 0 future first-round NFL draft picks on the roster. Jovan Belcher chose Maine because Maine was the only Division I university that offered him a full scholarship. And during the 4 seasons inside the blue and white uniform of the Black Bears, between 2005 and 2008, Jovan Belcher became the best linebacker in the modern history of the University of Maine football program. 45 consecutive games started, an absolute program record in the modern history of Division I AA, 17.5 sacks in 4 seasons, and an academic degree signed by the University of Maine in child development and family relations, graduated in 3.5 years instead of 4 with honors, child development and family relations. An African-American football player, 21 years old, freshly graduated with a college degree in child development. Lock in that degree, we'll come back. But the most important college fact of Jovan Belcher's life was not the 45 consecutive games started, nor the 17.5 sacks, nor the academic degree in child development. The most important college fact was a University of Maine organization called Male Athletes Against Violence. A university organization with the declared objective of reducing gender violence through the active leadership of male athletes in the athletic program. Jovan Belcher joined Male Athletes Against Violence during his 2nd year on campus. And until his graduation in 2008, he worked as an active member inside university workshops on domestic violence, sexual assault prevention, and responsible male education aimed at first-year students. A college activist against violence toward women. A starting Division I football player with a full football scholarship, and a college graduate with a degree in child development. That is the man who, in April of 2009, 4 months after graduating from the University of Maine, entered the NFL draft. And no franchise selected Jovan Belcher in the 7 rounds of the NFL draft. Undrafted. A linebacker from the University of Maine, Division I AA, with no real projection inside NFL scouting. Too small for professional defensive lineman, too slow for professional coverage linebacker. And with 80% of his college games played against small, northeastern American universities that no NFL executive had ever watched live, undrafted, not a single call from any NFL general manager. And at 1,600 hours on the last day of the NFL draft of 2009, inside the complex at One Arrowhead Drive of Kansas, General Manager Scott Pioli signed the undrafted free agent contract that would change the life of Jovan Belcher and Kasandra Perkins forever. Rookie undrafted contract, minimum salary of the NFL Players Union, symbolic signing bonus, and a silent opportunity to make the 53-man roster of the Kansas City Chiefs through the training camp of the summer of 2009. Jovan Belcher flew from New York to Kansas that same week, with a small suitcase, with a cell phone borrowed from his mother, Cheryl Shepherd, and with $500 in cash in the pocket of the blue University of Maine sweatshirt. $500. The total savings of a 21-year-old African-American college graduate with a degree in child development and a college career as an activist against violence toward women. And during the following 3 years, between the training camp of the summer of 2009 and the training camp of the summer of 2012, Jovan Belcher did inside the complex at One Arrowhead Drive what no ESPN analyst, no NFL Network analyst, and no Kansas City Star reporter had predicted inside the sports pages of the Kansas paper. He won the starting linebacker job for the Kansas City Chiefs. Undrafted, University of Maine, Division I AA, and started across 4 years inside the Chiefs roster during the 2009 through 2012 seasons. 46 consecutive games started, 229 combined tackles, 9 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, and 2 straight seasons with more than 70 individual tackles inside the defensive roster of head coach Todd Haley and head coach Romeo Crennel. A kid who had cashed $500 in cash the morning of his flight from New York to Kansas was about to become, inside the training camp of the summer of 2013, the highest paid starting linebacker on the Chiefs' defensive roster. A multi-million-dollar contract signed by Scott Pioli was about to land inside the bank account of the African-American son of Cheryl Shepherd. And a girlfriend, Kasandra Perkins, 22 years old, from Texas, tall, thin, with a contagious laugh, living inside the home of Jovan Belcher of zip code 64015 of South Kansas, and a daughter, Zoey Michelle Belcher, born on September 11th of 2012 inside North Kansas City Hospital. 3 months old. 79 days of life inside the South Kansas home before the murder of the biological mother. The second blood daughter of the Belcher Perkins family inside the single-family house of South Kansas, and that is the exact man who, on the morning of December 1st of 2012, a Saturday, fired 9 shots at the body of Kasandra Perkins on the floor of the master bedroom of the house at zip code 64015. 9 shots, with his own mother, Cheryl Shepherd, inside the room next door caring for Zoey, with his own daughter Zoey, 3 months old, inside the adjacent room. And Jovan Belcher himself, a college activist against violence toward women during the 4 years he played college football at the University of Maine, pulling the trigger of a 9mm pistol legally registered in Missouri under his own name. 9 shots, an activist against violence, a 3-month-old father. And that brutal contradiction, that man who spent 4 years working against violence toward women in college and who ended up unloading 9 bullets into the mother of his own 3-month-old daughter, is the exact reason why Jovan Belcher, 25 years old, ended up in the Arrowhead Stadium parking lot with a pistol pointed against his own temple. That is the real reason Jovan Belcher fired 9 shots at Kasandra Perkins. It was not a domestic argument. It was a silent calculator that had started ticking inside the brain of Jovan Belcher nearly 2 decades earlier, inside the backyard of the working-class home of West Babylon, where an African-American child of 9 years old took hits to the head playing neighborhood football without a helmet for hours every day after school. Accumulated hits, 19 straight years, 9 competitive football seasons from 9 years old to 19 years old inside zip code 11704 of West Babylon, and a university organization against violence toward women that would become, 4 years after graduation, the most brutal irony in the modern history of the NFL. Lock in that irony, we'll come back. The night of Friday, November 30th of 2012, 4 weeks after the birth of Zoey Michelle Belcher, Kasandra Perkins walked out the front door of the South Kansas home to attend a Trey Songz concert inside the Sprint Center of downtown Kansas. The house went empty. Cheryl Shepherd, Jovan Belcher's mother, was visiting from Long Island caring for Zoey inside the guest bedroom on the first floor. And Jovan Belcher, that same night inside the locker room at the One Arrowhead Drive complex, after Friday afternoon practice, made a silent decision that would change the rest of his life and the life of Kasandra Perkins forever. Jovan Belcher went out with another woman that night, a fact confirmed by the Kansas City Star newspaper 5 days after December 1st, inside the investigation signed by reporter Christine Vendel of the crime desk of the Kansas paper. Jovan Belcher returned to the South Kansas house at 4:30 in the morning of Saturday, December 1st, drunk, with a blood alcohol level of 0.17%, more than twice the legal limit of the state of Missouri. Kasandra Perkins returned to the same house at 5:15 that morning, and during the following 80 minutes inside the master bedroom of the house at zip code 64015, Jovan Belcher and Kasandra Perkins had an argument that Cheryl Shepherd heard in full from the guest bedroom next door. 80 minutes, an argument, a mother listening. Have you ever wondered what an African-American mother of 65 carries when she listens from a guest bedroom to an 80-minute argument between her own starting NFL linebacker son and her own son's 22-year-old Texas girlfriend with her own 3-month-old granddaughter asleep inside the adjacent room? 9 things she carries. The silent certainty that the words her son is yelling inside the master bedroom are no longer the words of the son she raised for 19 years. The silent suspicion that her own son, Jovan Belcher, has been changing for months inside the Arrowhead locker room. The silent awareness that her own granddaughter Zoey, 3 months old, is 9 feet away from an argument she should not be hearing inside an American home. And the silent certainty that Zoey's biological mother, Kasandra Perkins, is not going to give in during that argument no matter how much her son Jovan Belcher yells from the master bedroom. Cheryl Shepherd carried all 9 during the following 80 minutes. And at 7:04 in the morning of Saturday, December 1st of 2012, inside the master bedroom of the house at zip code 64015, Cheryl Shepherd heard her son Jovan Belcher say out loud 3 exact sentences that would be the last words the American public would hear from the starting linebacker of the Kansas City Chiefs. He said to Kasandra Perkins, "You can't talk to me like that." And immediately after, Cheryl Shepherd heard 9 consecutive shots. 9 shots fired into the body of Kasandra Perkins, 22 years old, on the marble floor of the master bathroom of the South Kansas house. The first went through the neck. The second went into the chest, next to the heart. The third went into the abdomen. The fourth went into the right hip. The fifth went into the back. The sixth went into the left leg. The seventh went into the right hand. The eighth went into the chest a second time. And the ninth went into the neck a second time. 9 gunshot wounds, a 22-year-old body, and a 9mm pistol legally registered in Missouri under the name of Jovan Belcher himself. Cheryl Shepherd ran from the guest bedroom to the master bathroom, and she found Jovan Belcher kneeling on the marble floor next to the body of Kasandra Perkins, still with the pistol in his right hand. Jovan Belcher leaned over the body, kissed Kassandra's forehead, and said 2 words, "I'm sorry." Jovan Belcher walked out of the master bathroom, crossed the hallway to the guest bedroom where Cheryl Shepherd was holding 3-month-old Zoey in her arms, and stood in front of his own mother and his own daughter. He apologized to Cheryl Shepherd with a single sentence. And he kissed Zoey Michelle Belcher on the forehead. Then he walked out the front door of the house, got into the black Bentley Continental GT parked inside the family garage, started the engine, and drove exactly 5 miles to the main entrance of the complex at One Arrowhead Drive in South Kansas. 5 miles, a black Bentley, and a 9mm pistol in the right pocket of the Chiefs sweatshirt Jovan Belcher was wearing that Saturday morning of December 1st. Lock in those 5 miles. We'll come back. The general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs, Scott Pioli, was the first to arrive at the complex at 1 Arrowhead Drive every Saturday morning of the NFL calendar. Black coffee, Chiefs polo shirt, sneakers, and a routine review of the defensive statistics for Sunday morning's game before the start of the coaching staff's analysis. That Saturday morning of December 1st of 2012, Scott Pioli parked his vehicle inside the complex parking lot at 7:48 in the morning, 5 minutes before the start of the technical analysis of the Panthers game the following day. And getting out of his vehicle, inside the complex parking lot, Scott Pioli saw, less than 30 yards away, a black Bentley Continental GT parked in the emergency lane with the engine running. And inside the Bentley, sitting in the driver's seat, with the door open, with a 9mm pistol pointed directly against his own right temple, was the starting linebacker of the Kansas City Chiefs, Jovan Belcher. Scott Pioli walked toward the Bentley with his hands up. Jovan Belcher stepped out of the driver's seat with the pistol still pointed against his temple and walked towards Scott Pioli. And less than 9 feet from the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs, Jovan Belcher said, out loud, inside the parking lot at 1 Arrowhead Drive, 5 exact words confirmed by Scott Pioli himself inside the Kansas Police Department investigation. He said, "I did it. I killed her." Scott Pioli stood still 9 feet from the starting linebacker of the Chiefs with his hand still raised and without saying a word for the next 4 full seconds. And then, with the calmest voice possible, he asked Jovan Belcher a single direct question. He asked him who he had killed. Jovan Belcher answered with 3 exact words confirmed by Scott Pioli himself. He said, "My girlfriend." And then, with the pistol still pointed against his own right temple, Jovan Belcher said to Scott Pioli 3 more exact sentences that would be remembered by the Chiefs general manager for the rest of his life. He thanked Scott Pioli for the opportunities of the 4 years inside the franchise. He thanked head coach Romeo Crennel for the defensive development inside the team's roster. And he asked Scott Pioli, with one final sentence, to take care of Zoey. "Take care of my daughter." Scott Pioli answered yes, that he and the Kansas City franchise would take care of Zoey Michelle Belcher, that Kasandra Perkins would have a funeral with dignity in her home state of Texas, and that Zoey's life would not depend economically on a single person inside the American professional football community. And he begged Jovan Belcher to lower the pistol. Jovan Belcher did not lower the pistol. That is the exact role Scott Pioli had to play inside the parking lot at 1 Arrowhead Drive on the morning of Saturday, December 1st of 2012. It was not an NFL game, it was not a press conference, it was not a contract negotiation. It was a general manager of an NFL franchise listening to the confession of the murder of a 22-year-old mother directly from the mouth of the team's own starting linebacker with a 9mm pistol pointed against the accused's temple, less than 9 feet away from the general manager himself. And Scott Pioli made a silent decision that would define the rest of his career in American professional football. He talked. He talked for the next 9 full minutes inside the parking lot at 1 Arrowhead Drive, trying to convince Jovan Belcher to lower the pistol. He asked him to think about Zoey. He asked him to think about Cheryl Shepherd. He asked him to think about the possibility of a trial inside a federal court. And Jovan Belcher, during those 9 full minutes, listened to Scott Pioli without lowering the pistol from his own right temple. The head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, Romeo Crennel, arrived at the complex at 1 Arrowhead Drive at 7:54 in the morning. And behind Romeo Crennel came the defensive coach, Gary Gibbs. 3 witnesses, a starting linebacker with a pistol, a murdered mother 5 miles away. At 8:04 in the morning of Saturday, December 1st of 2012, inside the parking lot at 1 Arrowhead Drive, 2 Kansas Police Department vehicles arrived at the complex after the 911 call from Scott Pioli himself. Jovan Belcher saw the police vehicles. He moved backward. He positioned himself behind a vehicle in the parking lot out of direct sight of the officers. He knelt on the asphalt of the emergency lane and he pulled the trigger. 9mm. 1 shot, 1 skull. Jovan Belcher shot himself in the head at 8:06 in the morning of Saturday, December 1st of 2012, inside the parking lot at 1 Arrowhead Drive. 25 years old, 4 seasons as a starting linebacker for an NFL franchise, undrafted, University of Maine, male athletes against violence, and the body of the starting linebacker of the Kansas City Chiefs lying on the asphalt of the parking lot at 1 Arrowhead Drive with a gunshot to the head and a 9mm pistol inside his right hand. And that is the man Scott Pioli had to report to NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell at 9:30 in the morning of Saturday, December 1st, through a phone call confirmed by Scott Pioli himself during the Kansas Police Department investigation. Have you ever wondered what an American NFL commissioner carries when he receives, on a Saturday morning, a phone call from the general manager of a Kansas franchise confessing that the team's own starting linebacker has just killed himself inside the parking lot of Arrowhead Stadium less than 9 hours before the start of Sunday's game against the Carolina Panthers inside the same Arrowhead? 9 things he carries. The silent suspicion that the medical crisis of CTE inside the NFL has begun to actively kill the starting linebackers on the active roster. The silent awareness that the medical crisis of CTE has been silenced for 10 straight years inside the locker rooms of the 32 NFL franchises. And the silent certainty that canceling the Sunday game of December 2nd would be the first public admission by the NFL commissioner that the medical crisis of CTE is beyond the economic control of the professional football program of the country. Roger Goodell carried all 9 during the next 4 hours. And at 13:30 in the afternoon of Saturday, December 1st, inside NFL headquarters on 6th Avenue in Manhattan, Roger Goodell decided to play the game. And the NFL announced that same afternoon that the Chiefs game against the Carolina Panthers on Sunday, December 2nd, inside Arrowhead Stadium would be played inside the regular schedule without any modification. A murder, a suicide, a general manager present, a head coach present, a defensive coach present, and an NFL game as if nothing had happened. Lock in that decision. We'll come back. On Sunday, December 2nd of 2012, inside Arrowhead Stadium of South Kansas, the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Carolina Panthers by a score of 27-21 in front of 69,000 fans. It was the only Chiefs win of the 2012 season, a record of 2 wins and 14 losses, the worst record in the modern history of the franchise. And that same Sunday night of December 2nd, inside the Sunday Night Football program on NBC, in front of 25 million viewers, sports commentator Bob Costas read, during halftime of the game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles, the most famous anti-gun editorial in the modern history of American sports journalism. A 90-second editorial, 19 million mentions of the Belcher name inside American sports pages during the following 9 days, based on a column written by sports reporter Jason Whitlock of the Fox Sports website. With one thesis: if Jovan Belcher had not had legal access to a 9mm pistol, Kasandra Perkins and Zoey Belcher would still be together. Bob Costas, Sunday Night Football, 25 million viewers. And the national debate on legal access to firearms inside the American professional sports community began that night of December 2nd of 2012. That is the Belcher scandal. A starting linebacker of the Kansas City Chiefs, undrafted, graduated from the University of Maine with a degree in child development and a college career as an activist against violence toward women, murdered the mother of his 3-month-old daughter with 9 shots inside the master bathroom of the South Kansas house at zip code 64015. He killed himself with a 10th shot inside the parking lot of the 1 Arrowhead Drive complex. And the NFL played the Sunday game as if nothing had happened inside Arrowhead Stadium, less than 900 yards from the body of the starting linebacker himself. 900 yards. And a medical decision made by the Perkins family 9 months after the burial of Jovan Belcher inside the Suffolk County Cemetery of Long Island would change the modern history of the National Football League forever. Lock in that medical decision. We'll come back. The body of Jovan Belcher was transferred that same Saturday afternoon of December 1st from the parking lot at 1 Arrowhead Drive to the Jackson County Morgue in downtown Kansas. Standard autopsy from the county medical examiner, and a phone call to Jovan's father, Kevin Belcher, inside zip code 11704 of West Babylon, Long Island. Cheryl Shepherd, Jovan Belcher's mother, took a direct flight from Kansas to John F. Kennedy Airport in New York on the morning of Sunday, December 2nd, with Zoey Michelle Belcher in her arms. 3 months old, a yellow blanket, and a baby bottle inside the paternal grandmother's handbag. Zoey was the only survivor of the South Kansas house at zip code 64015, the only physical proof of the relationship between Jovan Belcher and Kasandra Perkins, and the last blood daughter of the Belcher-Perkins family inside the custody system of Missouri. Lock in Zoey, we'll come back. The Jovan Belcher funeral was held on Saturday, December 8th, inside the Believers Christian Fellowship Community Church of Dix Hills, Long Island, less than 9 miles north of the West Babylon neighborhood. 300 people attended the service. Direct relatives of the Belcher family, former West Babylon High School teammates, former University of Maine Black Bears teammates, and a silent delegation from the Kansas City Chiefs led by General Manager Scott Pioli himself. Kasandra Perkins was buried 2 days later, on December 10th, inside the cemetery of the Perkins family's Texas hometown. 200 people attended the service. 90 miles east of Kasandra Perkins' hometown, the mother of Kasandra, Becky Gonzalez, personally delivered the eulogy in front of the closed casket. 2 funerals, 2 towns, 950 miles apart, 9 hours of commercial flight between the 2 burials, and a 3-month-old baby inside the arms of a paternal grandmother at an airport 1,500 miles from her maternal Texas hometown. The legal battle over Zoey Michelle Belcher's custody began inside the family court of Jackson County of downtown Kansas before the end of December of 2012. 2 plaintiffs, Cheryl Shepherd of West Babylon, Long Island, and Becky Gonzalez of the Perkins family's Texas hometown. 2 grandmothers, 2 states, and a 3-month-old baby inside a family legal limbo recognized by the American judicial system. Cheryl Shepherd, after 9 straight months of legal battle inside the Jackson County family court, made a silent decision that would define the rest of Zoey Michelle Belcher's childhood. She renounced legal custody. In September of 2013, inside the Jackson County Family Court in Kansas, Cheryl Shepherd signed an agreement renouncing custody in favor of the Perkins family. No conditions, no economic payment, no visitation rights. Zoey Michelle Belcher was placed under the legal care of Sophie Perkins, the maternal cousin of Kasandra Perkins, inside the Perkins family home in Texas. And since September of 2013, Zoey lives inside Sophie Perkins' Texas home under the Perkins last name, without the Belcher last name, without direct family connection to Cheryl Shepherd of West Babylon, Long Island, and with a $1 million economic fund signed by the National Football League as part of the settlement for orphans of professional players associated with brain injuries accumulated inside the professional football program. $1 million, a check signed by the NFL, a Texas baby raised by a maternal cousin without connection to the Belcher name. Have you ever wondered what a 65-year-old African-American paternal grandmother carries when she decides to renounce legal custody of her only blood granddaughter after having listened from the guest bedroom of her murderer son's home to the 9 shots that took the life of the baby's mother and the suicide shot that took the life of her own murderer son? 9 minutes later, inside the parking lot at 1 Arrowhead Drive, 9 things she carries. The silent guilt of having raised a murderer's son during the first 19 years of his life. The silent certainty that the paternal granddaughter cannot be raised with emotional dignity inside the same home where Cheryl Shepherd heard the 9 shots that killed the biological mother. The silent awareness that the future nights of Zoey Michelle Belcher cannot begin with the eyes of a paternal grandmother carrying the memory of those 9 consecutive shots. The silent responsibility to let the baby grow inside the maternal family home without the silent shadow of the Belcher last name on her chest. And the silent guilt of having been the only direct witness inside the South Kansas house to the last 9 minutes of Kasandra Perkins' life. Cheryl Shepherd carried all 9 during the next 12 years. And that silent decision, that legal renouncement signed by the paternal grandmother inside the Jackson County Family Court in Kansas, is the exact reason why the Perkins family from Texas, in December of 2013, exactly 1 year after Kasandra Perkins' murder, filed a unique legal request in the modern history of the NFL. They requested the exhumation of Jovan Belcher's body, the first exhumation of the body of a professional NFL player in the modern history of American football, filed by the attorneys representing Zoey Michelle Belcher of Texas inside the Suffolk County Family Court of Long Island in December of 2013, with a specific medical objective: to analyze the brain of the starting linebacker of the Kansas City Chiefs under the microscope of a forensic neuropathologist to determine whether Jovan Belcher was suffering at the moment of the murder of Kasandra Perkins a degenerative brain disease associated with the accumulated hits inside the skull during the 19 years he played competitive football. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, a disease that the National Football League had been silencing for 19 years inside the locker rooms of the 32 franchises of the professional American calendar. 19 years. The medical name of the degenerative brain disease discovered inside the brain of the retired Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker Mike Webster in 2002 by the Nigerian-American forensic neuropathologist Bennett Omalu of the Allegheny County Medical Examiner's Office of Pennsylvania, CTE. The same medical disease discovered inside the post-mortem brain of the retired San Diego Chargers linebacker Junior Seau after the suicide of the retired player inside his own family home in Northern California in May of 2012. 43 years old, 900 miles west of Kasandra Perkins' Texas hometown, the same medical disease discovered inside the postmortem brain of the retired Chicago Bears safety Dave Duerson after the suicide of the retired player inside his own family home in South Florida in February of 2011, and the same medical disease the doctors representing Zoey Michelle Belcher suspected inside the brain of the self-killed linebacker at 1 Arrowhead Drive. Jovan Belcher's body was exhumed from the Suffolk County Cemetery of Long Island on December 14th of 2013, 9 degrees Fahrenheit inside the cemetery that morning. 19 direct relatives present, 13 months exactly after the burial of Saturday, December 8th of 2012. The brain was extracted inside a forensic neuropathology laboratory of New York City signed by Dr. Bennett Omalu himself, the same pathologist who had discovered CTE inside the post-mortem brain of retired linebacker Mike Webster of the Pittsburgh Steelers 11 years earlier. And in September of 2014, 9 months after the exhumation of the body of the starting linebacker of the Kansas City Chiefs, the medical report signed by Dr. Bennett Omalu himself was delivered to the attorneys representing Zoey Michelle Belcher of Texas inside the Suffolk County Family Court of Long Island. The report contained 10 pages of scientific analysis, with microscopic photographs of the post-mortem brain of the starting linebacker of the Chiefs, with scientific notes from the forensic neuropathologist, and with a single medical conclusion signed personally by the worldwide discoverer of CTE, the doctors had found inside the brain of the starting linebacker of the Kansas City Chiefs the specific microscopic signature of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, neurofibrillary tangles, 19 microscopic photographs of the post-mortem brain of the starting linebacker of the Chiefs, 9 specific samples from the frontal cortex, the exact microscopic signature of the medical disease that had killed, a year before the murder of Kasandra Perkins, the legendary retired linebacker of the San Diego Chargers, Junior Seau, inside his own family home in Northern California, and the exact microscopic signature of the medical disease that had killed 18 months before Junior Seau's suicide, the retired Chicago Bears safety Dave Duerson, inside his own family home in South Florida. 3 retired NFL players, 3 separate suicides, 3 post-mortem brains with the same microscopic signature of CTE, Junior Seau, Dave Duerson, Jovan Belcher, and that microscopic signature inside the exhumed brain of the starting linebacker of the Chiefs is the exact reason why the National Football League in August of 2013, 4 months before the exhumation of Jovan Belcher's body, signed a historic legal settlement with more than 4,500 former professional players inside a federal court of Pennsylvania. $765 million, a historic settlement for brain injuries accumulated inside the NFL professional football program. And that historic settlement is the exact reason why Zoey Michelle Belcher received the $1 million economic fund signed by the NFL as part of the settlement for orphans of professional players associated with brain injuries, accumulated inside the professional football program. A check signed by the NFL, a Texas baby raised by a maternal cousin, and an exhumed brain inside a Long Island cemetery with the microscopic signature of the disease that made him pull the trigger 9 times against the mother of the baby. That is Jovan Belcher, the undrafted linebacker from the University of Maine, working-class African-American son of the Belcher Shepherd family of zip code 11704 of West Babylon, Long Island. The 45 consecutive games started as a black bear of the University of Maine, the 17.5 sacks inside the blue and white uniform of the Black Bears. The college graduate with a degree in child development and family relations. The active member for 3 years of the college organization Male Athletes Against Violence. The undrafted free agent signed by Scott Pioli inside the complex at 1 Arrowhead Drive of Kansas in April of 2009. The starting linebacker of the Kansas City Chiefs for 4 straight seasons. The 46 consecutive games started as a Chiefs starter, the boyfriend of Kasandra Perkins of 22 years old from Texas, and the biological father of Zoey Michelle Belcher, born on September 11th of 2012 inside North Kansas City Hospital, and the 25-year-old African-American linebacker who fired 9 shots into the body of Kasandra Perkins on the morning of Saturday, December 1st of 2012 inside the master bathroom of the South Kansas house at zip code 64015, and the African-American linebacker who fired the 10th bullet inside the parking lot at 1 Arrowhead Drive of Kansas that same morning of December 1st in front of Scott Pioli, Romeo Crennel, and Gary Gibbs, and the exhumed brain inside the Suffolk County Cemetery of Long Island in December of 2013 with the exact microscopic signature of chronic traumatic encephalopathy. 9 shots, 9 minutes, 9 feet apart, 9 millimeter, and an exhumed brain inside a Long Island cemetery 13 months after the burial with the exact microscopic signature of the disease that installed itself inside the skull of Jovan Belcher through 19 straight years playing competitive football without real protection inside the American athletic program. 19 years, a young brain, 9 competitive seasons inside the American athletic program, and a silent calculator that started ticking inside the backyard of the working-class home of West Babylon, where an African-American child of 9 years old took hits to the head playing neighborhood football without a helmet every day after school. That is the Belcher scandal. It was not just a murder. It was a silent medical disease inside the brain of a son of the Long Island working class that the NFL knew about for the 10 years before Jovan Belcher's own suicide, and that it decided, through the signature of Commissioner Roger Goodell himself, to keep silenced inside the locker rooms of the 32 NFL franchises. 10 straight years. And a young life named Zoey Michelle Belcher, raised 12 years after Kasandra Perkins' murder, inside a Texas home by a maternal cousin who never met the biological father who killed the baby's mother, without the Belcher last name, with the economic signature of Roger Goodell himself inside a fiduciary bank account of Texas, and with the silent weight of a silent calculator that started ticking inside the backyard of the working-class home of West Babylon the year an African-American child of 9 years old, son of Cheryl Shepherd and Kevin Belcher, began taking hits to the head, playing neighborhood football without a helmet for hours, every day after school. If this story moved something inside you, if you felt the weight of an African-American paternal grandmother listening from a room next door to the 9 shots that took the life of the mother of her only blood granddaughter, if you thought about a 3-month-old Texas baby raised for the last 12 years inside a home without her own biological father's last name, if you remembered a young brain silently carrying a disease that the NFL knew about for the 10 years before the murder of Kasandra Perkins, subscribe to the Fallen Stars channel right now. And leave us in the comments if you think Jovan Belcher was a murderer or a silent victim of the NFL professional football program itself. See you in the next video. And if you or someone close to you is going through an emotional crisis, if you have had thoughts of harming yourself or another person, or if you have received accumulated hits to the head for years inside an American athletic program and you are experiencing behavioral changes, call the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline for free at 988. Every day, anytime. You are never alone.